of us on. Wow.
Do we show in the background?
No. We're clean. You can't see because I'm looking at the monitors. So you can see yourself, right?
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Love it.
Okay. Yo, you do not believe where I am right now. I've been waiting forever to get Mr. Jose, the Credit King. I'm gonna call you the Credit King. You know why? Because you live up in the sky here in Coral Gables.
Man, I'm just trying to catch up to you, Ronnie. I'm trying to catch up to you.
Bro, I live a humble life.
Yeah, but you've done amazing. You know, I just want to congratulate you for all your accomplishments. You're a true leader of the community, and I'm a big fan of you. So when I got the news that you wanted to interview me, I was like, Mom, I made it. I'm going to be at the podcast that everybody has been waiting for.
Hey, Pitbull, Mr. 305, look out because you got competition with the two of us, okay? So tell the world, like I know you because I think you came into one of our offices a couple of years ago. And you did a presentation on credit repair and your whole business. Tell us about you and exactly what you do.
You know, I want to go back to that date. Actually, I want to say thank you because believe it or not, that was the beginning of when I make that step to be able to offer these services, and something that you and I have in common is to change people's lives. And you're one of the first partners, places I actually did a presentation. I still remember, and I talk about it in my team. That's actually been more than a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I think it was like 2020 or 2019, maybe 2020.
Yes, and I think I might have had two more hairs in my head. But it was a while ago. But I got to owe you. You're amazing, and thank you so much for the opportunity that day. That day brought me so much blessings because it really emphasized who are you as a person, and your team, which has always been world-class service.
Love it.
You know, everybody knows me, Ronnie, as MrCredit305, as the credit repair. But I'm going to give you a secret.
Go ahead.
I'm not a credit repair company anymore.
What do you do?
We're a fully financial service company that gives solutions to entrepreneurs and also to individuals that have a dream to do something special.
Don't you feel that it kind of makes sense though? Because, you know, people say that, you know, the reputation of Miami for a very long time has been it's party, party, party. But after me living here for 12 years, I see that, no, this is where people come to do business, and you're not just in one business. One business turns into another, turns into another, turns into another. So explain to me, you know, how did this transition take place, and you know, tell me about this whole arc of your business.
Right. Everybody said, why do you call yourself MrCredit305? Now I'm going to give you a little secret, and I told you this over the phone, and I told you please don't hold it against me. I know you're from New York. I know you're from New York, and I was born in Jersey.
Okay.
But I was raised in Atlanta, Georgia. But I fell in love not only with the city, but I fell in love with a Cuban from Miami. So there was a lot of reasons here to come to Miami.
How you doing?
Absolutely. So she's behind it. She's the boss. But honestly, Ronnie, I owed so much to Miami. It's given me so many opportunities, and given the trust in my team to be able to change lives, it has been a big deal. So that was the beginning of the MrCredit305. Now we did start it, and a little bit about my background. I've been in banking for a long time. I was a private banker for BOA on the Merrill's flag.
Oh, wow. Okay.
In fact, I was in your neck of the woods. I was at Lincoln Mall. My office was right there at the Bank of America building.
No kidding, right there on the corner of Washington and
yes,
Lincoln Road.
Yes. So I saw a lot of
I live at the other end of Lincoln Road. I live on the residential part of
Lincoln.
Lincoln.
Yes, the quiet one.
All the way down on the west side, right on the bay. I wake up in the morning. I have my coffee. I watch the dolphins.
Yeah.
You know, but yet the craziness is a couple blocks away.
Absolutely. And I fell in love with that. So it was exciting. And one thing that I was used to is understanding how banking works.
Right.
And giving solutions to our clients. Now, nothing in my past before, I think I might have had hair back then too. I was in law enforcement, and
no kidding.
Great opportunity.
Here?
It was in South Florida,
Okay.
in the West Palm area, in Palm Beach. And one thing that I learned in regards to laws, statutes, and be able to give solutions using laws. Now, I'm not an attorney. I don't want to say I'm an attorney. But when you talk about solutions, we have to use the rights that us consumers have in this country. And I had the pleasure to work in different areas in law enforcement. And then I went back to banking, which is where I went to Bank of America. And I had this.
How did you like being a police officer?
You know, I really enjoyed it. It created credibility. It created character.
Okay.
It's not easy.
Right.
I learned about serving and making a difference in the community. It's actually one of my favorite times in my life.
You know, my whole family is law enforcement.
Yeah, nice.
So my brother-in-law is a chief up in New York City. My son is on the ESU, one of the divisions in ESU in New York City. All my cousins, all my friends, uncles, they are the cops, firemen. You know, I'm the only one that went into the banking world and now the media world.
But you know, it's we're still changing lives together.
Yes.
Because what we do is important, and we started with credit, and then I found solutions, and I found how we impact people's lives. So we went from consumer credit to now we do business credit. We create credibility for our clients here, and also international. So we have international representation.
That's big. Especially in Miami, where we have so many, you know, different people that are here from other countries, and you know, it's incredible the amount of nationwide in the United States. This is a little fact. I'm full of all these silly facts that really don't mean a lot to a lot of people, but nationwide, we're about 14% of Americans are self-employed or own their own businesses. In Miami, it's 67%.
Wow.
Why? And I think it's because we have such a huge influence from Latin America and from other parts of the world, and that's part of their dream is to, you know, like, oh, I own a business, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But you know what Miami has done for me too? It has inspired me to be better. And one thing about Miami is it's a sexy town, and there's so much about it, but Miami is one of those things that you see people making some big moves.
Yes.
And it makes you step up your game, right? So we went from business credit to consumer business funding to business to credit repair, merchant services.
Okay, right.
And other solutions that we can help businesses out. So we're here to making.
I always say
difference.
that, you know, coming from New York, I would never have been able to make the leap from being in, you know, the banking world into the media world. New York is such a big city that even if you're inside this, if you're in the inner circle in New York, there are so many people in that circle you could never go across the circle. In Miami, the inner circle is so tight, everybody knows everybody, that once you're in that circle, you're just one step away from everybody else. And it makes it easier to expand the business or to kind of shift gears really quickly and go do something else.
Right.
You know?
Right. So it's been exciting, man. It's been exciting, and I'm thankful for the community. And I have some big news tonight.
Okay.
So we have.
I know you have a big event tonight.
We do. And I'm so nervous. I'm sweating, man. This is how much you mean to me. But I'm here like we're here running like a chicken with no head. The weather's been terrible, and I definitely I'm so excited to be beside you. Is that we have an event tonight? It's Marjam. It's a sexy event. It's a networking event.
I love Marjam.
Yeah.
Yeah, she does a lot of great events.
They do?
Yes.
So we're doing another one, Cayocho.
I didn't know we were using pronouns, but okay, they, she. Okay.
So there's
2024.
I know, right? Yeah, so tonight, Marjam, it's going to be a great event. I'm going to be giving away two.
Cayocho?
Cayocho.
Okay.
Yep. So I'm excited.
Okay. And tell us about the event.
So it's going to be a networking event. It's where the top 1% meets. It doesn't matter what industry you're in.
Okay.
So it's definitely made a difference in my life, too. I made a lot of relationships.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I love it. So tell me a little bit more about your business. Why is credit, I know the answer to this, but I want you to tell everybody that's watching, why is credit more important? And let me, before you even answer, let me say this. I've been married to a Colombian.
Okay.
Or two.
So you can't piss her off.
Right. I was divorced. I was married to two different Colombians.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
No, I love my Colombians. My Colombians. Yep.
But the one thing I learned about, you know, really being intimately involved, playing on words there, being intimately involved with my Colombian families, is that, you know, outside of the United States,
right,
to people who are like based out of other countries, to them having cash in the bank is the most important thing. In fact, when I was doing mortgages for clients from other countries, I would say, all right, you don't have any credit. It's going to be a little bit difficult for us to get the loan that you want. And they would say, yeah, but I have $2 million in the bank. I'm like, no, you have to have credit.
Right.
In our country, having credit, in the United States, having credit is more important than how much money you have in the bank.
Right.
So tell us about like why'd you start with credit, and then how did you decide to expand to these other businesses?
So with credit, it's your credibility. Okay, it's not just about buying a home. It's not about buying a car. It's about sometimes even getting a job. Right. When you go in banking, they look at your credit. If you want to get in law enforcement, if you want to get into the military, they're gonna look at your credit. So it's credibility, and a lot of people don't understand that. It's something that is not taught in high school. It's something that's not taught in college. It's something sometimes you just gotta learn it the hard way. But where my passion started, being that I'm from Atlanta, I told you that little secret. And there's a small company in Atlanta called Equifax. And with Equifax, it's like when you live in Orlando. When you live in Orlando, you know a lot of people that work in Disney, right? So talking about divorces, I went through a divorce, and with all my education, being director of financing for multiple companies, one of them was Rick Hendricks, the NASCAR company. I'm focusing on people's wealth. And I go through a divorce, and I look at my credit. I'm like, how did this happen? And one thing, Ronnie, I'll tell you is this is going to affect anybody. It doesn't matter your education, your age, your status. Mistakes can happen. And that's where I decided, do I become a victim of, and I got to take ownership.
Right.
Because one of the questions they tell me is, what can I do to prevent this? Is make sure that you know what's happening in your credit. So I decided, hey, am I going to sit here for 7, 10 years with bad credit?
Right.
Or am I going to be able to challenge this? And the thank God is that I got some friends in Equifax that were birdies, and great friends of mine, and also another credit like TransUnion, Experian. Educated myself in regards how that works. And I also had, which is still a great friend of mine, my accountant that worked with the IRS.
Okay.
Which is also when you're talking about laws.
This guy's got more connections than an airline.
But you're from New York, man.
Yeah.
I'm scared of your connections.
My connections are on both sides of the law.
There you go. There you go. But and then also have some friends in as attorneys in the civil side, and also the in regards to credit. So I got educated, and that was my first client. And that's where my passion started. So within months, I helped myself get from a bad situation to a much better situation. And for many years, what's funny? That I did this for free. And
So you're just helping people just to help people.
I didn't even know it was a business.
But look at what it turned into. So you were doing it for free.
Yeah.
And then you were learning how to do everything, helping people.
Yep.
And then it turned into a great business.
Absolutely. So I had 2 great mentors, and one of the things I always tell all entrepreneurs, have a great mentor, have a good coach, and sometimes it's great to have someone that's not in your industry so they can kind of tell you, kind of chin check you. And I had a great friend also with my wife that I had a good conversation one night. I had a fork in the road. I'm leaving the office in Miami Beach, and I'm like, maybe this is a business that can help a lot of people with all the solutions and also situations that they feel lost. And as Latinos that come here with a dream, they don't understand sometimes how the United States work, right?
That's what I was saying before, right?
And even the ones who are born here. So had a great friend of mine also that at that time sat on the board of BlackRock.
Okay.
And a very good friend of mine. And he goes, Jose, you're really good at what you do, and you should do something as a business. And my mentor was the vice president of a very small company called JP Morgan.
Okay.
And he definitely inspired me to start my business. And that's how the world of credit started. And then we evolved to where we're at today.
So let's talk a little bit about credit, because one of the things that people tell me the most over my entire career, over the past 25 years, they've said, I have perfect credit, and meanwhile they have like one credit card and that's it, and they have like no payments on it. Why does that? Why does just having like one credit card or having one car loan and having nothing else in your credit? Why does that? Why don't they have a 780 FICO score? Why do they only have like a 660 or a 690 instead of having a 780?
Well, what's important is a lot of people get stuck also on the scores. Okay, right. So with the scores is FICO, which is for as a corporation of separate company, right? The score is a risk factor, right? So depending on what you're purchasing or you're financing, there's going to be a couple of different scores. But it is important because sometimes that one, people get stuck on, I got a high score, but I got one credit card. You need to have the data that's sexy enough to match your score.
Right.
So sometimes you just don't have enough revolving credit, history credit, right? So most lenders, when they're looking at funding, whether it's for buying a home or buying a car, they're looking at trade lines. And what's a trade line? It's not the piggybacking. It's not, just the authorized user. It's actually something that's revolving. So when we give it advice,
a track record of showing your payment history.
History, available cash. When you cut the pie with the FICO, there's 2 pieces of pie that's most important, which is the history and the available cash.
Right.
So when we work with a client, whether it's an entrepreneur or just a consumer trying to buy a home or a car or just getting credit, we want to make sure that we'll be able to establish the history and also the credit for them to bring up that score.
Yeah. The other thing that I've seen on top of not having enough credit is like I'll be working with a client and then I'll say, like, let's say they have, 2 credit cards. Let's say they have, a couple $100,000 in the bank, and they have 2 credit cards. One's got a $5,000 limit, and they're at $4,800. One has a $10,000 limit, and they're at $9,000. And I'm like, hey, look, here's what you need to do. We need 10 more points on your score to be eligible for a certain program. Pay off these credit cards, and we'll do a credit update, blah, blah, blah. And what do? They pay off the credit cards and they close the accounts.
Terrible. Terrible.
Why does that hurt their credit?
Because now you're closing something revolving. Okay, so if you close it, it hurts you. Now, if the bank closes it, because you're not spending on it for non-usage. It's a little different. It's a little different.
How do they differentiate though from that on the credit report?
Those are algorithms, and that's a great question. FICO has their ways of having algorithms in regards to picking up what's the risk factor. That's why I always encourage people to really understand those algorithms and educate yourself, because it's important. Any little thing on your credit, whether your balances or closing accounts, can be a huge difference on your scores.
Yeah, 100%. One of the things I've seen that's changed in the credit reporting system is, I don't know when it happened, but it happened within the past 5 years.
Yeah.
Used to be, you pulled the credit report on somebody, it would give you their 3 scores, and then it would give you like, are they 0 by 30, 0 by 60, 0 by 90. But now, especially in an RMCR, that's a residential mortgage credit report, it's giving you the entire pay history.
Right.
This is August 2024, July 24th, July 24, you paid it on this date and you paid this amount. And it's all that is going into calculating the score. And where it's helping and hurting is if you need an exception from an underwriter, right? Or
Sure.
or maybe the max loan amount's $1 million for these guidelines, but
Sure.
they need 1.2. It's in those exception scenarios that kind of data is really coming in, because if people are managing their credit well and they're not overextending themselves, a bank or a lender is more apt to go out and go above what they would normally do.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think, understanding that even when someone goes to a dealership and you look at your credit 1,000 times, it's going to affect your credit. You can lose 100 to 200 points in just being responsible in using the credit the smart way.
So that's another great topic to talk about, because I know that's something that a lot of people say, hey, I don't want you to run my credit. I don't want this or I don't want that. But I know, and I'm not sure what the exact, and I should, I'm 25 years in this business, I should know this, but I know that if you run your credit in like a 2-week span, but it's run at the same type of institution, it doesn't hurt your credit score. How does that work?
It still does in a way. It's just the hit. So an inquiry can be from 4 points all the way to, people don't know this, up to 15 points, depending on the data.
So if you run your credit 2 or 3 times
Yep.
at different car dealerships,
Yep.
or you're trying to get a line of credit or whatever, it could lower your score from a 700 to a 650.
Absolutely.
With 2 or 3 credit pulls.
Absolutely, absolutely.
What determines how much it's going to lower your credit?
Your data.
Okay.
Yeah, your data. So if you have, depending on your data, it can be affecting your scores in different ways. So if you have a thicker data, it's going to obviously, depending also on your positives on your credit report, is going to determine what the scores are going to drop.
So if you have maybe some dings on your credit, does that mean that when you rerun your credit multiple times, it's going to have a greater impact on your score?
It could.
Okay.
Yep, it could.
Huh. What could people do to prevent that from happening?
Well, first thing I will tell you is this: make sure you know what's on your credit.
Okay.
There's a lot of errors that could happen. 8 out of 10 individuals will have mistakes on your credit. So be definitely informed on what's happening on your credit report. Second is, don't let your credit be pulled unless you're ready for that purchase.
Right.
Okay. So make sure that you negotiate.
So if you're just out looking around,
Absolutely.
There's no reason to pull your credit.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay. Let's say somebody has bad credit, and I know I want to talk more about the new phases of your business, but this is something that I think is really important for the average person that's watching. Caravan is the real estate show. This is the Caravan podcast, which is the companion to it. So a lot of people in the real estate industry, or a lot of people that are interested in real estate, are going to watch. Let's say somebody has some credit issues.
Okay.
Let's say they have a couple of late payments. Maybe they have a charge off or whatever. What's the process to help them? How long does it take? And how can you help people with that? Walk us through a couple of scenarios.
What I would tell you this: don't lose faith. Okay, so one of the things you can sit there and wait 7 to 10 years, or you can take action. Okay, so first thing is hiring a company. Hopefully you think about us. Is in regards to giving a solution, understanding the formula, understanding the laws, understanding the language. Another thing is doing an audit, identifying your credit is very important. You can't wing it, okay? So your credit is different than mine.
Right.
The accounts are also different. You got to act accordingly. So the first step is doing an audit, coming up with an action plan, and definitely challenging all those accounts the right way. Yeah.
All right. So we know that credit is super important if you're looking to buy a car, you're looking to buy a house, you're looking to get a line of credit, even student loans for your kids or for yourself or whatever. But now that you're entering this new phase in the business, tell us exactly what you're focusing on and how this evolution came about. It seems like a natural evolution. Like you help people with their credit so they can get into houses and buy things. Blah, and now you're doing this. Explain to exactly what you're doing.
One thing I do want to add about credit is also the education side.
Okay.
And people start thinking about removing things negative. It's also about adding positive credit. So one of the things that we also introduce in our company is becoming data furniture. How about if I told you that you have a Latino that comes in from another country, let's say Colombia, right? We talk about Colombia or any country, Mexico, and they have a great job, they have the down payment, they want to invest, they saw a property with you or any of your partners, and they go, you know what, I want to, but I don't have the data. When we talk about data, well, guess what? We have great relationships with Bank of America, Wells Fargo, American Express, all these other companies that can provide data. There's something called piggy banking, where you have to almost walk on water, that they allow us to be able to benefit great credit history.
It's called piggybacking?
Or authorized user.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
The technology, the technical word about it, the most people, you know, when we talk about it is authorized user. The banks use the word piggybacking. It's basically you piggyback on someone else's good credit. So we're allowed to do that. And that's something that's made a big difference for the first, you know, for the Latinos that come here for the first time.
Right.
Something new, something
Just to
fresh.
give them something so they're not starting out with zeros on their credit report.
Absolutely,
Right.
absolutely. Another thing is now when you talk about revolving and evolving to different solutions, is you said something correct in the beginning.
Okay.
That when we come in here, a lot of Latinos or anybody from all parts of the world, they want to start their own business.
Yeah.
They want to have this. Everybody says the American dream, folks. It's not the American dream, okay? It's the human dream. We want to have that own business. We want to have our own home. So now what we decided is start building business credit. So our focus right now is with entrepreneurs, which we have a lot of international relationships and also domestic relationships that want to go ahead and build their business credit. The great thing is it's called also asset protection. So how about if you can start getting funding just in your business name? How about if you start separating? When I talk about business credit, talk about divorcing your consumer with your business credit. The number one mistakes the entrepreneurs do is that they start using their personal credit for their business, right? And then they're calling me, MrCredit305, why am I 680, but I pay everything on time? And then when we look at their credit, the creditization is 100+%. They're way over because they haven't noticed that there's also business credit. In fact, I'm gonna tell you a little secret. I'm gonna share this with your audience.
Secret time.
During COVID, I got a pretty interesting call from a certain government that's, I'm not gonna mention their name, but it's great relationships that we have. We go, MrCredit305, we see that you have a business credit, and we want to go ahead and start offering this to our residents. In fact, they wanted to put it in their banks, our program.
Really?
And they wanted some exclusivity in regards to my brand, and obviously I said no, but we continue that relationship. But it did bring me the little light in my little brain. Said, you know what? This is something that we need. So when you can create business credit and not have a social security number, but you can still make some moves without having a social, because that credibility. And we've been doing great on it because we do it like nobody else does it. We also provide data for business credit. We warp that credibility because business credit is all about credibility. Now, what does a business owner need? They need merchant. How about if I told you that I'm not only the merchant, I'm also the sponsoring bank and also own the technology?
Right.
So now we can provide what businesses need. Also business funding. Right now we have real strong relationships with business funding that provide those funds for businesses. Don't keep it complicated. We can go funding as quick as 72 hours for certain amounts, right? Depending on the need of the client. And we can secure that funding because guess what we do? We create credibility.
Boom. So it's like the wheel.
Absolutely.
As it spins, it becomes faster, stronger, better. Boom.
We want to be that, and I know you know this. When somebody says, "Hey, man, do you know the guy that mows the yard?" Yes, I know the guy. Do you know the guy that, you know someone that paints the house? I know the guy. We want to have the relationship.
You want to be like the general contractor, but you're the hub for all banking services.
So we can continue that relationship. I love to be the journey of everybody's dream, and it's something that I've had a passion for a long time. But I'm about to announce something today.
Okay.
Are you ready for this? Yeah, you're not ready for this.
I want to say one other thing.
Are you ready for this?
I want to say one other thing now.
Talk to me.
So you're talking about people using their business credit, using their personal credit for their business expenses. And that's something that we see all the time that precludes people from being able to qualify, specifically for like a mortgage. Because what happens is they have multiple vehicles in in their name, but they're really being used for the business, especially like in the contracting trades and whatnot. They're using their credit cards. And typically they have to show 12 months of payments. Oh, I made 12 months of payments for the cars, 12 months of payments for the insurance. And if they can't show it, Or if it's mixed and mingled, oh, these 6 months I paid it through the business, but then I paid it through the personal because my accountant told me to do that. And okay, that's great, but now you're going to get tagged for the full payment.
Right.
So that's another reason why people should try to establish their business credit so that all of their legitimate business expenses get run directly through the business. There's no commingling.
You know, and one thing is, I'll tell you, is that people think it's boring, but trust me, it's not boring when you really need it because there's so many tax benefits, there's so many benefits, and because the business credit doesn't run under the FCRA.
Right, yeah.
So you don't have to worry about that 25%, 10% creditization.
Right.
You can max out your credit cards on business. It doesn't show up on your consumer side. And that's what you're supposed to use that. Yeah. So I'm so glad that we got those relationships. We've had some exclusive relationships. We're even now funding anywhere in the world up to $100 million per client. If you have a project, you have an idea, you have somewhere, where there's in Mexico, Costa Rica, Spain, we have clients in Chile right now. They go, you know, I love my country. I still want to invest in the United States, but I have a project here. Well, helping partners of ours being able to solidify those projects all over the world. And it's a relationship took me 2 years to build. And there's a little saying, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. And we've done a great job. And
it's a very New York saying.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So we're offering that now.
What kind of terms are those loans at?
It's great question. So those are up to 4.5 years is the financing. Okay. Interest rates are 12% annually.
Okay, not bad.
And you need at least about 10% on the amount that you're requesting.
So here's the thing. On the personal side, if you were to tell somebody that their mortgage or their car loan was going to be at 12%, they'd be like, all right, see you later, dude. But in business, it's almost like, not that you don't care, but if it's 12%, it's a business expense.
Sure.
Like, okay, it's less money you have to pay in taxes.
Yeah.
And while nobody wants to pay usurious interest rates, when it's a business expense, you're going to pay it to either the government, you're going to pay it to somebody else. And if you're going to pay it to somebody else and build your credit line for the next time that you want credit, when hopefully the economy's better, the rates are a little bit lower,
Sure.
you got to bite the bullet at some point.
Yep.
You know?
In fact, I have a broker here in the United States. I have a client in Mexico that wants to buy a hotel for $58 million in Baja California.
Okay.
We're solidifying that funding for her.
For $58 million.
For $58 million. So we're working on that funding, and those are opportunities that we're giving people. You got to start with a dream. You start with a dream, you put your first foot forward, you got to work for it, and that's what I love to do. I love to work with people that have that dream and they're willing to move forward with that dream.
You know, the interesting thing though, when people talk about, oh, it's a $58 million loan, that loan's probably easier than the person who's buying for $750,000 in West Kendall, because that, if it's a hotel,
Absolutely.
They're looking at the books from the hotel,
Yep.
how many doors there are, what's the occupancy rate, what's the numbers, and it's just at that point becomes a balance sheet loan.
Yep.
They're looking at it saying, this deal makes sense.
Absolutely.
You have business experience, the numbers make sense, okay, we're going to make that loan. And what's the worst that happens? The lender comes in and, you know, they take over.
Yep.
They take over a hotel. Now, guess what? You know, it's like Paulie and Goodfellas. Hey, what do I know about running a restaurant? I know how to order up the menu.
No, you're right. It's so much fun, man. It's so much fun, and to me, it's just a joy. But it all starts with credit. It all starts with credit, and that's why we make the big move that we're about to announce tonight. I've been hearing a lot of cries. I've been hearing a lot of stressors, and I said, what can we bring value to all of our partners? Because we have almost 16,000 realtors that send us clients. Okay, we work with a lot of relationships, and it's not a me thing; it's a we thing. Sure. I'm just the face of the company, but my team always delivers world-class service every single day.
Best.
Right? We might not be perfect, and we'll learn from our mistakes, but we strive for that perfection because our clients deserve it and our partners. Because one thing I do take serious is that whatever my team or I do is a reflection of our partner's reputation.
That's it.
So we always want to deliver.
Your reputation is everything.
It takes years to build and half a second to destroy it.
How many realtors are in your database that you do business with?
Around 16,000.
16?
Yeah.
16.
16 million, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
16,000. So it's interesting that we're talking about this because...
And it started with one of your relationships.
Amazing. It's just
years ago.
Amazing, right?
Yes.
But what's so important, though, is that like we just started a new program where, as a mortgage lender, we are now allowed to pay based on loan volume to realtors.
Yes.
Hello. It's changing the industry. Like in the first couple of months, we had a couple hundred people sign up for it, and it cost nothing to sign up for.
Wow, amazing!
And,
I wouldn't.
Yeah, we have to have a whole nother conversation
absolutely.
about that. But what we feel is that the same way that the real estate industry is
Sure.
changing right now with the new rules
Sure.
and everything, and the way that technology and AI is, we believe that the real estate and the mortgage lending world are going to become one because it's very similar licensing. The process, the whole entire real estate buying process it's congruent. It's exactly the same as the mortgage process. So why not just combine them all and have technology and AI be like the compliant part of it, where you can't cheat the system because the system's going to know everything that you're doing.
Absolutely.
You know? And that's been in the past. Lenders have not wanted to partner with real estate bankers, with realtors, because there's too much of a conflict of interest.
Right.
But now with AI can see everything that's going on in a transaction. Can see everything. It's like the crystal ball. It sees everything that's going on. So that's something that we just started developing a couple of months ago. It's huge. We're gonna have another conversation about
100%.
that in a week or so.
But you know what? I'm going to tell you something. I want to congratulate you because I've had the privilege and opportunity to work with the clients. I've worked with your company, and you've always given world-class service.
We try.
I mean, the realtors love you everywhere I go, and I want to tell you that that's something that means a lot, because here there's a lot of competitions out there, a lot of different companies that offer the same brand. But what makes you great, not only because you have a great knowledge, and I'm one of your fans. I follow you on the podcast, and I learn a lot about you. But the world-class service that you offer is amazing. You got to get to know him too. All my partners, him and his team does amazing.
Let's go. Let's do it. But how can people know how to get in touch with me?
Yep.
How do people get in touch with you?
Social
You have a great team here.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. So social media, MrCredit305, MrCredit305. All of my YouTube, social media, you can reach me there. My phone number, the office, 786-862-3987. But I can't forget the exclusive news I'm about to send out.
Please.
We're just opening up an office October 1st here in Coral Gables. Elite Title Coral Gables. We're starting a title company.
Boom. It goes hand in hand.
Yep.
Right, yeah.
Yep. And we're opening up in Orlando soon.
So you have 16,000, realtors in your database.
Yes.
How can you not have a title business? And now we're going to have another conversation about lending.
Yep.
It's like true one-stop shop.
Yes.
Everything underneath one roof.
When I travel and I speak a lot about this subject, I'll talk about all subjects our company offers, and I've had the opportunity to meet thousands of professionals, and I want to find that solution. I want to give the same service that you always provide, world-class service. One thing I'm not a mortgage broker, I'm not a realtor. I'm just here to make their life a little easier. That's my goal.
I love it. Hey, make sure you tune in to Caravan on Fox Broadcasting's Tubi app. You can find it on Roku, Amazon, Google Play. It's an app for your phone. You watch it everywhere. We got almost 50,000 views in the first 2 weeks of the show. We're filming season 2 in New York, and season 3 is going to be back here in South Florida. Hopefully you can come on an episode. Let's go tour some houses together.
Love it. Let's do it.
Yeah, we can compare sunglasses. A little rainy out today, so no sunglasses, but you still got the eyeglass game going. I love it. Hey, make sure you follow my guy, MrCredit305, Jose. Thank you so much for your time here.
You.
And
Appreciate
welcoming me into your beautiful office. Look at these views, even in a rainy day, dancing through the raindrops here in Coral Gables. I'm Ronnie G. Thank you for watching. Make sure you share this with everybody in your database. We'll see you next time on Caravan, the podcast.
Boom.
I like the boom. I like the boom, baby.
Love it, man.
Yeah.
Love it.
Perfect. So we're at 32 minutes, but really we took a 2-minute break. So we're at 30 minutes.